Apart from the fundamental units which we have seen, we also have two more supplementary units. The first physical quantity is solid angle and the another physical quantity is a plane angle. Solid angle, its unit is fundamental unit, it's steradian, and plane angle it is radian. Now I'll explain you what is solid angle and what a plane angle is. The plane angle you have been using throughout your childhood. You measure the angle theta. This theta is measured in the terms of radians or degrees. If it is in degree, you can convert it into radian, and radian then it can be converted into degrees. So this is a plane angle which we measure with the help of the protractor. In the case of the solid angle, it is something like this. Let's say some things are projected like this, and there all the corners are tied up. The exactly angle made at the center, this angle it is called as a solid angle or steradian. Let us see their definition. The light it forms a cone type of structure. Then the exactly angle at the center it is called as solid angle. Similarly, if you notice the parachute when it drops, right, maybe with the person, so here this angle formed by all the four threads from all the four corners, this angle is called solid angle steradian. Let us see the definition. So plane angle it is defined as ratio of arc to radius. So let us say this is a part of a circle of radius arc, then the plane angle radians it is defined as, this is the length of the arc denoted by the L. So length of the arc upon radius of the circle, this is the formula for the plane angle. And similarly, formula for the solid angle is ratio of area upon radius square, change in area upon radius square. This is the formula for the solid angle. It is not much used anywhere in the syllabus of 11th and 12th, so I am not explaining it. Next we discuss measurement of length. So measurement of length, that is you measure the length of this page, maybe length of the table, or maybe a distance between the 2 points, distance between the two cities. So length or distances which we measure in our everyday life can be categorized into two categories, based on which there are two methods of measurement of the length. Those two methods are, one is direct method and other one we have is indirect method. Direct methods are those methods which involves the use of scale, measure tape, vernier calipers, screw gauge, or any such devices which exist. So using these devices we make measurement. Let's say if you want to measure the length of a book, we use scale. If you want to measure the length of a room, we use measure tape. Then if you want to measure the distance between the cities or large distances, then you have a chain, measuring chain, which is used by the civil engineers, civil contractors. So use of such devices involves direct method. Indirect method, in the case if the distances are very large, or in the case the distances are very small, so in such cases it becomes difficult to make use of such instruments. Hence we make use of the indirect methods. So there are so many indirect methods. We'll discuss some of them which are commonly used. Echo method. Echo method involves a reflection of the sound from the huge object, let's say this is a mountain, and someone from the valley makes a huge shout, his voice travels and then gets reflected back. So based on this we can measure the distance. Let v be the velocity of the sound, and starting making the use of a stopwatch, we can measure the time in which the sound is produced and it is reflected back. So that time interval we get. So ultimately distance between the source and the reflector can be found out, speed into time, by 2. It will be twice the distance because sound has gone forward and again reflected back. So that is why double distances we will get. So we divide it by the 2 in order to get the distance between the 2 points. This is the echo method. The next method which we will discuss is a parallax method. Parallax method. There are many methods based on echo method, laser method, sonar method, triangulation methods. But again the numericals we have is based on this parallax method. So what is a parallax method? Parallax, the word parallax means relative shift in position of object when viewed alternatively by 2 eyes, that is keeping one eye open and other closed. So when you do such thing, you rapidly close one eye and open the other eye, then close the other eye and open the first eye. When you do such rapidly, you see that the object in front of you undergoes some shift, that is called as a parallax. So using that technique we can measure the distance. Let us see in detail what is the formula for it. So parallax method involves such diagram, right? Let us say you are the observer here and you observe the position of the moon. First you keep your left eye closed and observe with the right eye, and then you keep your right eye closed and observe with the left eye. Let us say the shift in the position of the moon obtained is distance b. Then the distance between the observer and the moon can be found out this formula, L upon theta. This is the distance. These distances are very large, so it doesn't make difference whether you measure this way or you measure this way. Very large in the sense these are the astronomical distances which are measured using this method. This L is b here, we can write down b by theta. Now out of all these three quantities, right, b and theta must be known. They are measured using some techniques, so you will be able to find out the length of this distance between the two objects. This formula resembles the formula which we had seen in the plane measurement of the plane angle, that is length of the arc is equals to radius into theta, where theta must be in radians. So it is the similar formula is used here, just the naming is given as a parallax method. Then to measure very small distances or very small lengths, we have this optical microscope. It measures up to 10 to the power minus 10 meters. Then we also have a electron microscope. Electron microscope, which is much more powerful than 10 to the power minus 10. I think it can measure up to the level of Fermi. So we make use of this. In measurement of the length, we see some additional units which are used to measure the length. Next one we see at the measurement of mass. Measurement of the mass again involves the measurement which can be done with the help of a simple, or you call it as a physical balance, or also with the help of this is for the measurement of the mass. Then you can make use of the spring balance to measure the weight, and so this can be used, and other estimation techniques are there to measure the mass of the very huge objects like planets or mountain. For that one we make use of this formula: mass is equals to density into volume. We get its density by some experimental techniques and then measure the volume area on which the mountain is sitting, right? It is generally in the form of a cone, so volume can be estimated and then the mass can be found out. Then in order to measure a very small masses like atomic masses, we have a unit which is called as a AMU, which is a atomic mass unit. Atomic mass unit, it is, this mass is as small as 1/12 mass of carbon 12 atom. 1 AMU is this much small mass. 1 AMU is 1.66 into 10 power minus 27 kg. This is such a small mass, can be measured with the help of the measuring instruments. Technology is advanced, we must be having such instruments which can measure such small masses or can estimate very accurately